Hello, Fearless Gamers! Matt here for Fearless Games, and today I'm doing another entry in the book corner. And today's book is going to be The Angels of Darkness by Gav Thorpe. This is probably one of the most interesting books that I've ever read because it was the hardest one to find. A lot of places where I found it was only used copies, and they wanted like 60, 70 bucks for it, which was crazy. Then, thankfully, I picked it up off of the Black Library site because it was only like $6 for the book. And then, of course, with the release of Ravenwing, they reprinted the book. So now I have a digital copy, but a paper copy is now available. This story is is pretty much the first book where the quote-unquote history of the Dark Angels, the secrets of the Dark Angels, were revealed. It's a story that involves the interrogator chaplain Boris, or Boris or Boraes or Boras, however you want to pronounce it. I'm going to put the title of his name right here. And this character would make a reappearance in Gav Thorpe's novel, The Purging of Caliban, because it takes place in the what's the name of that system again? The Pacina system, where Caliban Harbor is. And it takes place right after the Purging of Caliban, not like exactly after, but the Orc wave has attacked the planet and has been dealt with. And now everything's basically gone back to normal. Boreas, or Boreas or Boreas, again, probably just going to call him Boreas for now on. Boreas is going back to his normal routine, which is going to the planets in the system, and taking in new initiates to be Dark Angels, and sending those that have completed their training to the Rock when it arrives to finalize their training and get the final genetic implants that they need to make them full Astartes. But as he's doing this, he starts to lament about the lament's not a good word. Think back on his first interrogation of the fallen known as what was his name again? Forgive me, cause horrible memory, cause for some reason been off. Astellan, okay, or Astellan. Put his name right here. And it's about his first interrogation with this Fallen, and he reveals some very interesting information. He tells Boreas the truth behind the fall of Caliban, or truth as much as you can take of it. And then we start to see how these flashbacks of this interrogation start to affect him in present time when he is on the hunt again for another Fallen that Astellan kinda indicated about in his Tale of Woe, that he starts realizing that this lead could lead him to this other Fallen that Astellan talked to him about, mentioned to him. And as he's doing this, he starts wondering what it is he's doing, and is the secrets that the Dark Angels keep so close to themselves really a good thing, or is it slowly destroying them from the inside? I have to say that, like with a lot of Gav Thorpe's books, this is a very well-written one. The pacing is phenomenal. There are a couple of dry spots in it, but they're made up by just the intense moments that follow after. I do like also how he splits it up, where, we'll first get a bit of the past, then jump to the present, jump back to the past, then jump back to the present, and we slowly see essentially the evolution of the story that happened when Boreas did his first interrogation, to its progression of him going on this investigation. And what's also neat is you kind of learn this really cool perspective about what happened on Caliban, and it's written in such a way where you can brush it all aside if you don't like what you're reading. Gav Thorpe basically went, well, if you don't like it, then it's clearly the Fallen's lying to get sympathy, you can't trust whatever he's saying, he's a fallen Dark Angel. But on the other hand, if you're really intrigued and kind of think that this may be possible, there's that leeway to make it think that it may actually be happening. Again, as with a lot of Gav Thorpe's novels, there's no need. The characters are all very well grounded, and it's a very small cast. So, unlike a lot of Games Workshop novels, there isn't a list in the front that tells you who's who and what they do and everything, because you have to keep track of them, and it's pretty much impossible to do that as the story goes on. No, he keeps it very tight-knit, so you don't really have to work on that. And he also does, again, simple terminology that can be found in the rulebook and the codexes. So you don't need to have read every single wiki page or blog that's ever been written about the Space Marines to understand what it is he's saying, which is a nice thing, because when you really sit down to it, you're just looking for a nice, good story, and that's what he provides you. Characters are very well-rounded and very human and inhuman at the same time. What I mean by that is he does write them in a sense so they're very much the way the Astartes are predicted. Beyond human emotion, beyond lesser feelings that humans have, knowing no fear and questioning nothing and loyal to the end. But he throws in just a little bit of their old human self in these characters so they seem believable. You know, yes, they used to be humans, and that translates into them being Space Marines at this point. And again, the story is very well paced. There are a couple of dry spots, like I've said, but all in all, it's a very nice page turner that keeps you wondering. For me personally, I always wanted to get back to the Tale of Astalon so I could find out more about what he claims happened. As with many of Gav Thorpe's novels, though I will admit the one niche that I had in the last book in the Path of the Eldar series, I kinda jumped the gun and realized that he did keep with the fluff eventually when I thought about it, but in this book, there's one thing that I was just like, no! Foul, Gav Thorpe! Read the codexes, because I've read all the codexes that the Dark Angels had, and every codex basically says one thing that happens in the book cannot happen. Granted, when you think about it, it can be argued to make sense, but for me, I think this is one thing that is pushing the boundary to the can't happen factor. All in all, great book. It's really interesting, especially if you're a Dark Angels player and you're just getting into it. I highly recommend this book. If you're more of a Space Marine fan and not really big into the Dark Angels, you might get some enjoyment out of it. I would probably think that you would, but you may not be fully really getting into the book itself, and really the impact that the story has may not be as big as for those who are huge Dark Angel fans or very interested in the Dark Angels. So, like I said, if you're just getting into the Dark Angels, this is definitely a must-read book. It has been brought back into print, so you can go to the Black Library website and purchase a paper copy or a digital copy. I think it's only like a $3 or $4 difference between the two, so it's not too bad. And that's pretty much all I can say about it. So, thank you all for watching. Subscribe if you haven't yet, or wherever they move the button to, and like us. If there's any book recommendations that you have, feel free to leave a comment. And until next time, fearless gamers, take care.